Hello, friends. How are you? I hope you're doing good. Today we are doing a reading for the full moon in Gemini here on Patreon. I just came back from a winter magic market land. Where I did a lot of tarot readings, and it felt really good to be amongst queer people. And I'm so excited and happy that we have such a gorgeous and large community. It really fills me with happiness, pride, and joy to know that, we exist. So yeah, I hope this time of year can be difficult for a lot of people because of families. You know the gist. You might be going through it. You might not be going through it, but you know how it is. So this is a really good time for us to take care of ourselves. It's a really good time to take care of each other. Any time is really a good time to do that, but at this time, especially because a lot of people, we don't know what struggles people go through. And this time of year can bring up a lot of triggers and wounds around family and around belonging and around imposter syndrome, which is something that I've been noticing quite a lot with people. But the full moon in Gemini, full moons, that full moons are about releasing, right? It's the time where we really get to let go of certain things. And this is the last full moon of 2021. So we are going through that, coming up tomorrow, actually. This is the perfect time for you to sit with yourself for a minute and just, recollect your experience of 2021 and journal and see what it is that has happened, what lessons you've learned, and what kinds of things you want to take with you and what kinds of things you want to let go of. Gemini relates to the third house in astrology. So, anything that relates to your neighborhood, your siblings, communication, writing, studying, learning things. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, which is, the archetype of communication. So, we're going through this full moon. We might feel very drawn to be with others because Gemini is really social, right? It's very outward kind of energy. But also Gemini does have, it's the twins, right? So there is that you might be feeling a little bit of this push and pull to go inward or to go outward. And, I'm wearing like yin yang, which is very much, it relates to all of this in a beautiful way. So I think, a balance is always good. Relating to people. Obviously, like, be careful out there because COVID is starting back up with Omicron and all of that. So watch your asses, but try to find a balance if you can communicate with people, but also not give all your time outwardly. Have some time for yourself too. I think this is a good time for that, so that we don't get lost, because that's the dark side of Gemini. We can get a little bit ungrounded because there's a lot of outward energy that starts influencing. And so remaining connected to yourself, is a good time right now. We are going through the winter solstice too. So you know that we're very much feeling that part of Persephone's journey where she turns from the light into the darkness, and the threshold to get into Hades, you have to, pay a fee, which means what are you letting go of? Like what I'm doing this winter is I'm doing a cleanse, and I'm getting things to let go of. I'm letting go of a lot of stuff. I'm selling a lot of my stuff, my things. I'm gonna be cleaning, my house. This is a really good time for that. That nice winter cleanse. Letting go right now is the shit. It's good medicine. And I highly recommend it, because we're getting into a whole new year. So let's ask our spirit guides, our ancestors, the people of the land, what it is that we need to know right now. And also, thank you, spirit guides. Thank you, ancestors. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you for allowing us to be here. We love and appreciate you. Did you see my crack? What is it that we need to know at this time? Okay, bottom of the deck, we have the Page of Cups. The Home of Expression. We have the Lovers. This is the Gemini card, so it's awesome that it's coming out in the reading. Gemini, Venus, or Mercury, sorry. Eight of Wands is coming up. Sagittarius card, which we're still in Sagittarius season. Queen of Cups. Water. Fire with the Sun. And finally, the Knight of Wands. I'm also being asked to show Temperance, because that's actually also Sagittarius card. So we're talking about sobering up, which doesn't necessarily mean not drinking specifically, although that's totally fine if you wanted to do that. But it's about sobering up energetically. It's about not taking in so much toxins from outside of ourselves. And just coming into balance with what's around you. Listening to your intuition when you've had too much of something, when you've had too much input, when you've had too much of anything, right? Too much of anything isn't good. We need to balance our lives in order to be grounded and make decisions from grounded places. So, here we have the Page of Cups with the Queen of Cups. It's a progression, right? The page is the messenger of emotion, who, there's a progression from the page to the knight, to the queen, to the king, or the king and the queen, or like the more mature archetypes, and the page is the child archetype and they're both from the same suit, which is a suit of cups. So we have Page of Cups, Queen of Cups. That's a graduation, that's a maturation, that's a progression of this wanting to start something that relates to your intuition and your feelings and maturing into them. Maturing into this highly intuitive human being, right? Highly highly in tune with what it is that you feel. This time, you know, there's so much that we can let go of that can bring us, there's a lot of clarity happening, I feel, at this time for a lot of people. I feel like, especially you, if you're here listening to this message, this is a message for you, right? So I feel like, you know, there's a way that you've seen yourself, identify yourself through outward ways of expressing. And even though that has helped you understand who you are better, like what you wear, how you present yourself out into the world, you also know that that's transient and it changes, and ultimately who you are isn't always what you express outwardly. It also is, it's all of the dimensions that you have, which are multiple. You know, it's not just what you look like that makes you who you are. It's what you are. And that's when you're out there talking to people, and it's also when you're alone. And you have been able to see yourself from a more naked eye, from an eye that doesn't necessarily focus so much on what you look like, on what you're presenting outwardly, you know, like identifying with that kind of person isn't necessarily the entirety of your being. And, you know, you can be yourself when you are naked. You can be yourself when you are vulnerable. And that is love to yourself. You're loving yourself through loving all parts of yourself, not just the parts that you want to present to the world. One of the things that I'm noticing too is just loving your inner child. Loving, you know, Gemini is also more on the child side of the horoscope, the zodiac. And, you know, sometimes we want to be cool and adult and like experienced or wise and very elegant, refined, you know, all these things. But there's another side of you that's simpler, you know, that's just wanting to enjoy the times that you have and just wanting to be silly and goofy and playful and happy. And that's very undermined in our society, right? It's underrated. the joy of the sun, the warmth and the happiness of the sun. Those are, they're undermined energies that we can reclaim for ourselves. It's okay to want to be childlike. It's okay to be silly. It's okay to be, innocent. And that said, that also, I'm seeing in this reading is actually like, it's not about shadow, right? Like we talk a lot about shadow in spirituality. This is not about shadow. This is about light. This is about us. I don't know. I feel like we have been so focused, especially during Scorpio season. We've been so focused on embracing our shadow side, because that's what society is. I mean, I don't even know what society says anymore. Because I've been going on journeys, and at some point it doesn't even make sense anymore. I don't know if you know what I mean, but so let's not talk about society, but let's just talk about light. Let's talk about light. Let's talk about wanting, to bring communication into attention, and exploration, adventure, happiness, playfulness, all these things. I did talk about all of this in the last Sagittarius moon. I think it was a new moon, the eclipse, right? We did talk about light and happiness and how it is undermined. And I think it's just kind of carrying over a little bit into this moon. The idea that we are here to experience the multiple dimensions of being alive, right? We're here to not have aversion to any kind of experience. So as much as we talk about embracing our shadow, we also want to embrace our light, and sometimes that can be challenging because, as I said last month with the Sagittarius new moon, there's a lot of guilt that can come up when we experience joy, the joy of being a child, connecting to our inner child selves, because the world is, difficult. It's hard. And when we know that, it's, it can be heavy. So here we're seeing, wanting to start a fire, wanting to drop truth bombs, wanting to love your gorgeous body, your inner kid, your artist soul, your witch, your inner witch, your teacher, your inner teacher. There's a lot here that is asking us to connect to the light in ourselves and to allow it to be. And in some ways, not to settle. It's not time to settle necessarily or ground ourselves into anything specific, but to explore and to communicate and to connect to others in safe ways, so that we're able to connect to ourselves. Gemini, it allows us the chance, it gives us the chance to connect to others in order for us to connect to ourselves. because we are mirrors, right? You see here, the Lovers, it's a mirror. Other people are mirrors to us in some ways, especially people who we really connect to in a deep way. And if we are able to see the light in others, to communicate with others, to explore with others, to be unafraid to connect, to be unafraid to intuit, to feel the fear and do it anyway. Let me get a card from the Sacred Rebels deck, and I will read it to you. What do we need to know for this full moon in Gemini? That's great. Look at this. It ties so perfectly into our reading here. We've got the card, she feels, she knows. So let me read this card to you. It's a lot about feeling this month, and it's a lot about, it's like cups and fire. Like, what is that? Like water and fire together is when like the volcano erupts and the lava goes into the ocean. You know, that kind of phenomenon. 22. Which cools it down and then creates earth, right? Creates land. That's how land is like expended. So like the opportunity here is for you to build something through your passion and your intuition. She feels, she knows. An illumination is erupting from within you as a vision that is bringing what was once obscured into clarity. We talked about clarity. There's clarity coming here. There's feeling and knowing. This is not likely to happen as a blinding, shocking insight, but as more of a softer, gentle knowing. That's where the cups are coming from. It's that feeling of like just knowing, that intuition, that you know what to do or not do. It is like knowing something without understanding exactly when or how you came to know it. This insight will assist you, and you are asked to honor it. You will know which insight it is at the right time. Your heart will tell you. You are therefore being asked to rely upon the clarity that is coming to you now. There's clarity coming to you now, or has just recently come. Gently but firmly, from a place of knowing, intend to act and take your next steps forward. This oracle comes to you with guidance, particularly about long range or long-term developments. Something that is far bigger than the immediate situation, issue, or moment is of importance, although you will only have a dim sense of that possibility at best. The situation you find yourself in now may not be one of joy, but in time you will understand more of the bigger picture. You will come to see why things are happening as they are and how you are being helped onto the next stage of your path, even though it may look like an obstacle now. So for a lot of you, you know, it does it might not feel great at the time, but you know that it's the right thing. You are being asked to think in terms of long-term happiness. Sometimes this warrants change or even temporary restrictions in the short term, like, exploration, as we said before. If you can't see how the present can possibly become what you sense the future to be, this message is especially relevant. Through the natural process of transformation, great leaps are indeed possible. You simply must be prepared to surrender into the process with absolute trust. This oracle brings you specific guidance. The situations in your current life are particularly geared towards a more significant manifestation that is coming to you, according to your life path and purpose. This is a stage of preparation and of building a foundation that will hold you strong and centered as your creative journey unfolds and your life path becomes ever more brilliant and luminous. So keep plugging away, remain patient, and most of all, be hopeful and trust in the light you sense ahead of you. For it is the light that is within you, simply revealed more fully. All that is happening now is happening to that end. So, if you feel impatient about where you are in the process right now, just remember that you know what you're doing. You know why you're taking the steps that makes you feel impatient. And not to doubt those steps, but to know that it's not just about what you want right now, an instant gratification, but that you're thinking about life in a way that is more than just the present moment and what you want right now. The ego is concerned with right now. The soul is concerned about the whole journey, the whole process. We don't need to be focused on destination. We can just focus on the journey, because that is what life is. Life isn't a destination. Life is a journey. Let me see if there's anything else. I think that's it. If you need anything, I'm here. I am open to giving personal readings at this time. If you'd like to book one for yourself or a loved one, support your local witches and your intuitives. You already do. Thank you so much. But I'm here, I'm here to look a little more deeply into your own life personally, if you'd like as well. And I hope you have an amazing end of the year. I hope you're able to connect to what it is that you are trying to let go of and what you're trying to bring in. I wish you all the luck and the delicious things that can come your way this new year. And I will probably see you before the new year too. I'll make some, I'm thinking about doing what's awaiting you, kind of pick a card reading for the new year. So keep tuned in, and thank you for everything you do. I love you. Take care. Bye.